At the end of my videos, I have the habit of saying see you all relatively soon, and since it's relative, here I am about 2 to 3 years later actually uploading a video. If you're new here, hi, I'm Nash, and if you're not new here, then I'm surprised you are still here because I've always had troubles with like consistency and uploading and knowing where I want to kind of take this channel. So welcome back if you're one of those. And if you go into my channel uploads now, the last video, long form content that I uploaded, says that it was 3 years ago. So here we are again, trying to restart this, take a gander at it. And we're going to be doing that with a book haul because it seemed like the easiest option for me to be able to do that with, because where I feel like I shine is over on Instagram with shorter form content and treating my profile as a blog of sorts and posting pictures. So that's where I've been in the internet space mostly. But I keep feeling a sort of inclination to make long form content, make book reviews specifically. So that is what for now I plan to make this channel be. But this channel will be an extension of my Instagram profile where I treat it more as a blog to just kind of record little pockets and moments of happiness or things that I want to just post about and hobbies that I want to remind myself to indulge in as someone who struggles with their mental health a lot and who struggles with just focusing on the positive. People who may know me outside of the digital space might beg to differ, right? They might see me as a very positive person, as someone who's always smiling, but in reality I have a tough time trying to remind myself to just be happy and enjoy things. So I took the liberty to redo my Instagram profile into a space where I can remind myself of that. And I think that that is where I'm going to try and take this channel going forward. What does that mean exactly? It's going to probably have a little bit of everything. I'm going to leave the videos that I have right now up because it's content that I remember enjoying making and that I enjoy rewatching and revisiting that old version of myself. Now on to the book haul part. Book haul on a budget. Because I got laid off from my job like 2 months ago, and I've been trying to find a job ever since. In this stretch of time, I've learned to budget better, how to handle what little money is still coming in a little bit better, and putting stuff into just planning ahead a little bit more, which includes planning for these little babies right here. I got all of these in July. I was very good about not buying books for a while. I think I had been like 2 or 3 months without buying any books, and then suddenly I just kind of bought 5 in one sitting. So how did I budget for these, and what does my total come out to? That is what we're going to be exploring in this video. Starting with these two babies right here, these 2 paperbacks. There was a more precise plan for them. I don't think I've ever planned this much in order to be able to buy some books. I don't really get to frequent actual in-person bookstores a lot. The last time I went to a bookstore was like a year ago, a full year ago. Partially because there's not many bookstores or any near my area anymore, and I don't really have the means yet to drive myself around and go visit the bookstores on the island. Though I would like to make it a sort of road trip, checking out the bookstores from the list someday. But a group of friends of mine were like, oh, let's go to Atillo, to this place to eat and just to check out this Vietnamese restaurant, right? Because they really wanted to get the viral peach mango lemon ice creams that have been popping up on TikTok, and I was like, okay, cool, sure, I'm up for doing that. I want to be able to try the ice cream. But then what can we do after that doesn't really have to relate to eating, you know? Like I wanted to suggest the bookstore, but then another one of my friends suggested it instead for me. So I was like, okay, can we just go to the bookstore, please? There's literally a bookstore right across from the restaurant. So they said yes. And I went into that bookstore with a plan. I looked at my wish list, and then I put like 5 books as priorities that I would like to get because I would be reading them ASAP, right? So I went through my options and made the specification in my mind of like, okay, you have a limit of 2 books, but they have to specifically be out in paperback so that you can actually get them, buy them, and not hurt yourself too much in terms of financial. So if they're not out in paperback, you're not getting the books. That is the plan that I made. And on top of that, I also told my sister and one of my best friends to help me be held accountable for the 2 book limit that I set out for myself. And the entire planning and the entire hubbub ended up being worth it because I ended up being successful in that endeavor, and I ended up getting 2 books that I'm really excited to get into, and they are in paperback, so I actually abide by my own rules. The first book being The Monk and Robot Duology by Becky Chambers. So, A Song for the Wild Built and a Prayer for the Crown Shy. Pretty popular book in the cozy fiction genre sphere, and I've been wanting to check it out, but I wanted to wait until it came out in paperback, and this beautiful bind up of them both seemed like the right way to go. The other book that I got at the bookstore, I'm so sad that I didn't take pictures inside of the actual bookstore. That was a plan as well, to be able to take pictures and videos and make some sort of content from that, but I was so excited to go to that store because I had never gone to that one in specific. It's the bookmark in Atillo that I just completely forgot, and I was just rolling around in my wheelchair very excitedly over the entire store looking for the books that I was trying to find that I forgot. I was very in the moment, thankfully. The other one that I got is The Lost Story by Mike Schaefer. This is sort of, to my understanding, a loose retelling. Like it says right here, inspired by C.S. Lewis, The Chronicles of Narnia, because it's a portal fantasy. It's like magical realism, light fantasy as well. And it's about 2 best friends, Jeremy and Rafe. One of them goes missing, and the other one tries to go find him, up to my understanding. The thing with these 2 is that I didn't want to know much about them. I wanted to go into them as blind as I could, so that is why I'm not really doing a good job at talking about what these are about. But I already read a book by Max Schaefer, The Wishing Game. It ended up being one of my favorite books of last year, so it seemed fitting to try and search out her second one and see if she has the potential to be a favorite author of mine. Now for the next 3, there is also a rhyme and a reason, and I'm pretty sure that you can guess what this last one is because this edition is just very distinct and has been everywhere, I think. And I was gonna say in the entirety of the book space, but not really, just like on my side of the book space. It's been very prevalent, and it's about time that I sort of got it right. So these next 3 books, I got them all off of Pango Books. I think I've become one of Pango Books' biggest fans. It is a website that sells used books. Like each reader, let's say that I read this book and I enjoyed it but not enough to keep it, I want to be able to sell it forward. I open a storefront on Pango Books and I can sell it to other fellow readers and make it be sustainable so that it doesn't end up in a landfill, and that way readers can also just, you know, get books from other readers. I don't know, I just really like the concept. I'm doing a terrible job at explaining it as I get back into filming, but I love Pango Books, how affordable all of the books that I've gotten from there so far are the attention to detail that each reader takes onto like shipping their packages and their storefronts and reusing packaging. I just absolutely love it. So I have made it sort of a rule of thumb to try and find books on Pango Books first, because since I don't really have the means to go to a bookstore that much or a library near me, then I do have to buy the books that I want to read. But obviously it ends up being better for me if I try and get them at a cheaper price, and what better way to do that than to give an old book new life and buy it secondhand. That is my rule of thumb now, trying to buy it secondhand. And all of the books that I've gotten from there, I think I've gotten like 10 books from the website in different storefronts so far, have all been excellent condition, very well taken care of, and some of them have even brought goodies that I was not expecting. So what 3 books did I get from there? First, we have A Short Walk Through a Wide World by Douglas Westerbeck. This is a magical realism story. I'm not sure if it's specifically literary or just like general fiction, about this girl that has this, can I call it disability or is it like a chronic illness? But the point is that if she stops walking, she starts bleeding from her nose, like feeling very sick. Like if she stops walking, she dies. She has to keep on walking in order to keep on living, and it just follows her sort of encounters with the different people that she meets on the way, possibly how as well she got this illness. Like it sounded very weird in a way that I really enjoy, and it's on the super whimsical, which is why I got it. But it says that when medical treatment only makes her worse, she flees to the outskirts of the city, where she realizes that it is this very active movement that keeps her alive. So she just keeps on walking in order to handle her disease and not die. Next up, we have Needy Little Things by Chanel Desamores, and this is speculative fiction, a speculative fiction mystery. As you can see, there's kind of like a theme in the Boohaul, both in color and in genre, because I have found this year, I have finally discovered that one of my favorite genres and types of stories to get into is like magical realism / speculative fiction. They are very similar, but not exactly the same thing, so they can just kind of have an overlap, and I'm still learning about that. I forgot to say that A Short Walk Through a Wide World, The Lost Story, and Monk and Robot are all adult. However, Needy Little Things is young adult. That's the age range for this one specifically. And I became really interested in this one because it's about a young woman named Shariah Lee Bryant that can hear what people need. She can actually, to my understanding, hear their thoughts and know what they need. I'm not sure if it's intuitive or if she actually can hear their thoughts. And then her best friend Deja vanishes shortly after she discovers this ability. So she ends up using this ability in order to be able to find her friend, discover what happened to her, because to my understanding, the justice system just sort of closes the case, and she doesn't want her friend to not become just another forgotten black girl that went missing. So she tries to find her with this ability that she has, and I found that super interesting. So that is why I bought this one, and also the reader that I bought this off of Pango Books gave me a signed book plate by the author. That's pretty cool. Now for the last book, we have Death of the Author by Nnedi Okorafor. This is literary science fiction. It is adult, and this edition is absolutely stunning. This is the first run of this edition. I've never honestly been interested in the type of science fiction fantasy that Nettie writes, because it didn't really seem like my thing, but the subject matter of this one made me want to get it and explore it. It says the future of storytelling is here. This follows a disabled Nigerian American. Yeah, a disabled Nigerian American woman pens a wildly successful sci-fi novel, but as her fame rises, she loses control of the narrative. And it explores just kind of the dangers of AI, to my understanding. And that cover that you guys saw underneath the dust jacket that says Rusted Robots is the name of the novel that Selu ends up writing. And I think that this follows her, but it also, like, half of the book is her story and how she ends up writing the book, but the other half is the work of fiction that she actually puts out into the world that causes her fame to rise, if I am not mistaken. With all these books, instead of knowing in detail what they are about, what I tried doing was just downloading a digital sample of the first 2 chapters, and if after I finished the first 2 chapters I wanted to keep reading, then I bought it. That is also something that I took into account in order to budget for these books and be able to buy them and make sure that they are something that I am going to read and that is worth personally me investing my money in right now as a reader that still wants to be able to explore newer narratives. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this. I am aware of Nettie Okorafor's harsh comments, right, regarding an incident she had with a Native American fan. And after knowing that, I became a little hesitant to pick this up. I had already bought it by the time that I saw the comments, so just honestly to vent about it a little bit and talk about it a little bit, knowing what she stands for and just sort of what she writes about feels very, I guess the word that I'm looking for is counterintuitive for her to be so harsh and defensive in her response to other people's culture, regardless of if she agrees or not, when she is so vocal of her own culture, her own beliefs, and people respecting that in turn. Right? So, let's see where I stand with the work of fiction itself once I get to read it. I've seen a lot of readers that after that incident, they don't really want to recommend the book or her as an author. I completely understand where they are coming from. I am, however, still a little bit excited to explore that narrative as a disabled person myself and just sort of report back what I think. Now on to the pricing and budgeting total of this book haul video. Starting with Death of the Author by Nettie Okorafor, the Pango bookseller that had this on their storefront. This is a brand new hardcover, mind you, that would usually retail for $30 here in the US, $25 on a good day. I was able to get this for $14 because it was priced at $9, and the shipping ended up raising that price to $14. Monk and the Robot and the Lost Story, I ended up buying both at the bookstore, and the fact that they were paperback ended up making them a bit cheaper than usual. Here, full price paperback at a bookstore ends up being about $18, which is the price of one paperback. In this case, this paperback ended up being $18, this one as well. So that ends up being like $47 for those 2 books, right? And these two, Needy Little Things and A Short Walk Through a Wide World, I got them both from the same Pango bookseller. That's all the author is by a completely different Pango bookseller, but these two were by the same Pango bookseller, and they are brand new hardcovers that would usually retail for, this one says $28 US. The Short Walk Through a Wide World and Needy Little Things says inside of the flap that it would be $20. Brand new hardcover here in US and its territories. But instead I ended up getting these two in the same order for a total of $16. All $5 ended up being $60 in total, and I think that was not bad for the fact that it's $5 in 1 month. So when it usually would end up being for $5 full price, but utilizing my bat math, I'm going to guess that full price all these books would have ended up amounting to like $80 to $90. I got them all for a total of $66. So not exactly a steal for the fact that I'm laid off of work, but I do think that I planned well and was able to scavenge hunt successfully for titles that I'm actually excited to read in the very near future, because I've been reading a whole lot more. And as my reading tastes have changed, then I want my current shelves to reflect that, and this book haul reflects that for sure. What about you guys though? Do you usually budget for books to be able to keep buying books? Is there something that you have been able to change or do in order to get books into your life without provoking financial ruin to yourselves? I don't know. Leave all that good stuff down in the comments below. I've never really said these words and it's gonna feel very cringe, but like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more of my face and wherever it is that I end up taking this channel. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will talk to you all relatively soon. Hopefully relatively does not mean in 3 years time. Bye.